Hey, how y'all doing out there? And what is going on? We have entered the month of November. Man, 2021 was fast. And it just seems like you turn your head. New Year's was just here. I know 2020 was such a throwaway year and things kind of getting back to normal, but boy, it seemed like life just put its foot on the pedal and kept moving, man. We are less than 2 months away from 2022. And boy, if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan, you're probably wishing 2022 was here so we can get to April again and see if we can get a redo on what's going on with our team. But man, oh man, oh man, oh man. How y'all doing? It's your uncle here on a Monday afternoon. Good to see y'all. Yesterday, yuck, ugly, and ugh. And I know the score didn't exactly mirror the same thing as the Philadelphia game, but I felt a lot like that Philadelphia game yesterday. It's just like a field goal for a score and field goals for your scorekeeping. I mean, even through Kuoff yesterday, he missed his first kick of the year. The offense, man, we couldn't get it done. We'll get into some folks who were missing in a little bit. We got a lot to talk about in that particular arena, but you still have to find a way to win. You still have to find a way to move the ball. I haven't had an opportunity. I checked out a lot of Marcus's stuff when I was coming home from the game yesterday, my son and I. And it's a shame, too, just to set the atmosphere for those of you who may not have been there at the game. I'm going win, lose, whatever. I'm just a Falcon fan, so I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm a loyal fan, true and true, and I'm going to keep going to the games no matter what, because that's my team. So I do want to see them, unless it's something that goes on that I can't. So these first three games, when we start talking about Philadelphia, Washington, and Carolina, and of course the home game in London, which doesn't count, but the games in Atlanta have been sparsely attended. And yesterday, I would say out of the three games, even though the Falcons had shown signs of life over the last couple of weeks, people aren't buying it. And my son even made a comment to me, telling me, he said, Dad, the tailgates aren't even, lively as they usually would. Now, I know you had a couple of factors in that yesterday. It was a little chilly yesterday. So let's not pretend like it wasn't cold. And I know I'm not crazy about the cold either. I had a long sleeve shirt. Yes, I can't say I had a half sleeve shirt. And it was still kind of chilly in there. And they had their roof open, obviously, so they can have the open air in light of things that are going on. But the vibe just, it's not there. And look, I'm not telling people to go view a bad product. What we've done over the last couple of weeks, the way the offense was looking like Pitts was about to graduate into another level. Matt seemed to be turning his game around. those were all reasons to me. If you didn't go to the Philadelphia or the Washington game, those were reasons that I would have thought the average person would have said, you know what? Let me see if this 3-3 is a fraud, or is it, is it really that we're playing bad teams, or is it that we're improving and can look forward to the future? If you came out of yesterday's game, you would be thinking the fraud thing. But I'm going to tell you, I did like one thing about yesterday. And I know I posted something earlier this week. Dean Pease had a presser I think he usually comes on Thursdays or Fridays. And he was talking, D'Orlando Ledbetter, who did the AJC beat writer and Falcons guy. He came on and he was kind of questioning Dean Pease about pressure and getting pressure on the quarterback. And Dean Pease, in his coaching way, and tried to throw it back on D-Led and asked him about his experience. D-Led said something about I coached at Smyrna or something. I don't even know what he was talking about. But either way, Dean Pease was very defensive about, hey, listen, pressure obviously is something that you talk about, but there are other ways that you can get the job done. And he was basically defending himself. The Philadelphia game, which they tried to throw pressure at Jalen Hurts, and it didn't work out as great as he thought it would, probably because Jalen Hurts was a 21st century quarterback who could move around. But anyway, he was defensive, and he even took the blame to say he put people in bad positions during that Philadelphia game. So what he's kind of fallen back into, and they did it a little bit against Carolina, they went to kind of a bend, don't break kind of defense. And look, did they get their yards between the 20s? Absolutely. Seemed like Chuba, what's his name? Chuba Hubbard. It seemed like he got 6-7 yards every first down. Every single time. So we need to work on that part. But the defense only gave up 12 points up until the fourth quarter. And when you hold a team to 12 points, when you basically hold a team out of the end zone, I'm sorry. I have to go back and look on the other side of the field and see what's going on. We're going to get to the Calvin Ridley absence in a second, but let's not pretend like his absence wasn't a factor. It was, because that's another person you have to pay attention to if you're the defense. I think Matt tried to force feed Kyle Pitts a lot yesterday, to his detriment, with one of the passes he threw for interception. I think a couple of his throws were off to Kyle. Kyle dropped one of them on the sideline. He had in his hand. He could have held that one in. He did. But without Ridley's presence, I think it changed things up for the Falcons. Now, you have to have trust in the other guys on the field. Tajay Sharp, Russell Gage, who got 0 targets, I think, if I go back and look at this. So it became the Cordero Patterson, Kyle Pitts show, with occasional love for Tajay Sharp. You have to do something about that. We've got to do something to be creative. I know Carolina's defense is good. We kind of made them look really good yesterday. The pressure for Carolina was a factor. You definitely had a little bit more pressure this week than you had last week. So give them credit. They did put some pressure on Matt. But I still think the offense has got to be more creative. And you have to make adjustments. When you score 10 points in the first half, you can't come out and say, okay, let's stick to the game plan. 10 points is not acceptable. You need to put your average to think each half should be at least 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, we left points on the board with the miss from Koo and everything like that. You have to start thinking offensively. You got to. And it's, we got to do that stuff. Anyway, I see a lot of y'all coming in, chiming in. What's going on, brother Glenn? Good to see you. See my brother Tony is already chiming in. Octavius, how you doing, sir? Lisa, how you doing? I'm trying to get this. There we go. Lisa said, feeling funky, not happy at all. What happened at the Benz yesterday? On a brighter note, got to meet Alger Crumpler at the Benz. Dude looked like he could still play. I saw the picture that you had on there, Lisa. That was very nice. And of course, he was the horn puller last night. Yeah, he looked like he could have probably got in there from us yesterday. So Cam, what's going on? Cam says, no, it was a fraud. Oh man. Nora says to me, Smith can't scheme. Yeah, I mean, you even more than scheme, Norris. I'd like to see them make adjustments. I saw nothing different in the second half than what they were doing in the first half. There was really no difference. I didn't even see as Carolina just reared back in the third and fourth quarter and say, we're just going to run the ball. And no need to put Donald back there and throwing it. We're just going to run the ball at you. And it seemed like every first down, they were averaging between 6 to 8 yards. And defensively, what are you going to do? It wasn't like they were throwing the ball all over the place yesterday. Look at Darnold's stats. Darnold's 13 for 24, 129 yards. So at that point, neither passing game is getting anywhere. So why are you why don't you pay attention to the run? That guy gashed us way too much yesterday. Playwright, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Tony says every team they lost or beat, with the exception of the Bucs, have a losing record. And it gets worse, Tony. Detroit is on the horizon. Jacksonville is on the horizon. Carolina, again, is on the horizon. We got teams coming up that are not good. Don't let the Patriots fool you. I think the Patriots are okay. They're not a great team. I just hope they don't come in here and act the fool. Octavia says, we just don't have playmakers to put people back in the seats. Pitts and Ridley aren't enough. Well, contrary to all the pomp and circumstances in the spring, I kind of warned people, and I'm not saying me told everybody and you should listen to me, but I was telling this is not a one-year thing. This project, Arthur Smith was brought on here. This is going to be at least a 2 to 3 year project. And he might get every bit of 3 years. So those of you who trying to act like he ain't going nowhere, they're going to keep trying to draft. They're going to probably move some parts around. So don't think that he's not going to try to build this thing like he wants it. I think the only good thing that we're seeing now, contrary to the little 2-week uptick in Matt Ryan's performance, I think he just really sees we need to have somebody back there who can not only extend the plays, but just be able to get that yard or two. Darnold, that one play where we had him at 3rd and 8, and he got out of the pocket around the corner and he ended up with 25 yards. I'm sorry, y'all. That's not our quarterback. Matt tried to get out of the pocket and get 3 yards and tripped over his own feet and almost fumbled the ball. This is not about the Matt Ryan thing. So before I get those arrows, that's not what I'm talking about. But Carolina at least has a mindset that we need to get somebody back there in the back who can move a little bit. I'm not even sure Sam Darnold is going to be the future quarterback at Carolina. But I do know that Matt Rule at least says somebody's going to be back here who can move around in this backfield. Said Mayfield just needs to be benched because dude just not cutting it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's say I forgot about Ontario. Say I forgot about CP84. Absolutely, he made the only couple of plays we had in the game yesterday. With a little bit of crowd that was out there, you could barely tell. But shoot, the Carolina people didn't even show up that hard out there. It wasn't like the Philadelphia game and the Washington game when those folks were scoring. I mean, they took over the stadium. Like Carolina, it was a little bit of uptick, but I guess when you were 3-4, I guess it's not like you can, garner that much. Tony says, I really think they just don't have enough talent. I think that's the case too. And then remember, Tony, you got cashed off. Look, CP84 is a cast off. As much as he's been showing out in this offense, it's a reason he's bounced from 2 to 3 teams before he landed with a 1-year contract here to Atlanta. He's been a bright spot and he's been good, but I'm trying to tell people, even before y'all start talking about multi-year contract for Patterson, slow down. It's a reason he was here for this 1 year. Slow down. Let's not act like he's going to be, this could be a rebirth year for them. He could be putting on his display for other teams next year. Hold up on, let's re-sign him. And that bothers me when I see people see 3 games and all of a sudden it's like re-sign him for 5 years. Norris says Smith is stubborn. He's a head coach. He should be stubborn. That's his team. He should feel it. And it seems like he does. Look, I'm not going to sit here and doubt his sincerity. I think, and I'm not saying you are, but I think Smith feels it. He feels that was a frustrating loss yesterday. You couldn't put up points on a defense that we have all criticized at time. The defense said yesterday, here you go. Under 20 points, offense, I just need 3 touchdowns. I just need 3 touchdowns in 60 minutes. And we couldn't even do that. Lisa says, dismal offensive production at home in 2 out of the 3 games. The game versus the Eagles and now the Carolina. Arthur Smith acknowledged that 13 points is not enough to get it done. Look, I know everybody hates to hear at times hear my friend John Harris talk about it, man. You gotta keep scoring. You got to keep scoring in this league. I don't care how good your defense is. And I'm not here to tell you the Atlanta defense is all that. But you got to keep scoring in this league. The way they determine the winner is who scores the most points. So if you don't have an emphasis on whether Ridley is out, whether Gage is out, whether Lord forbid, one of the running backs goes out, you have to learn how to score. You've got to score, outscore the opponent. That's the basis of every North American sport. You score more, you win. So I can't sit here and give total kudos to the defense because the offense didn't do their job. Defense gave up 28 last week. We won the game. It's all about winning, y'all. Brother Mark, what's going on, man? Good to see you, my friend. It said, Lisa says, the Aints beat up the Bucks, and we're having an NFC South basement party because we didn't beat Carolina. What are our chances against Jameis Winstonless Aints? I can't call it. Well, Simeon did some decent things yesterday. The best thing he did was give the ball to Alvin Kamara, which always works because Alvin Kamara is one of those guys that when he touches the ball, magic happens. It'll be interesting to see after a week of practice how Simeon comes out next week. Sometimes you can get out there and that adrenaline gets into the, into play and everything like that, and you're able to, feed off of it. And let's face it, New Orleans is something about them in Tampa Bay. They got Tampa Bay's number. I mean, we played the Saints better one of the games last year than the regular season Tampa Bay games. I don't know what it is. Brady is throwing Matt Ryan-esque type interceptions. It's something in their head in the regular season. Obviously, they won when it counted, but still. Nora says Pitts needs trips package. That would work out, but you got to get some competent trips with them. Yeah, I mean, right now we are down to Russell Gage as your number one. I guess Zacchaeus is your number two. Blake, Sharp. Well, Sharp sounds like he might be that number two now, the way they were feeding him yesterday. Just we got a long way to go. Hopefully they're doing their homework, because the New Orleans secondary, folks, the New Orleans secondary, them cats, they are handsy. And they get in there and they fight with the receiver. Right now, I don't see one of our receivers that has that kind of fight in them. I mean, they were all over Mike Evans yesterday. And he finally broke through later on in the game, but still. Rusty, what's going on, man? L's to the Panthers sting to me just like L's to the Saints with you living up there in North Carolina. They ain't Falcons, boy. When you think they have it figured out, they let Sam Darnold look like a Pro Bowler. Man, we have made, well, I won't go as far. Sam Darnold had a decent game on the ground. This was probably the best game they've had. I know the score says 19-13, so don't let it get twisted. It's a loss. This is probably the best performance against a quarterback this year. Again, let me go back. 13 completions for 129 yards. No touchdowns. And yeah, I'm not willing to say that he had a great game, but he won before he got knocked out. I'll tell you, it's Thompson. Lisa, if we play like we did yesterday, there's no chance. I don't know. Let's see. What's going on, Mike? How you doing, sir? Good to see you too, my friend. You need to be at work, bro. Nah, I'm just playing with you. Oh, man. John, I'm gonna link you in 1 second, brother. Let me get through the first few comments, because I know you are very long-winded, and I don't have a long-winded amount of time today. So let me get through this, and then I'll hook you up. Tario, what's going on? Said, we almost need to throw this season away. Nah, we're 3-4, y'all. We're 3-4, and we still have 10 games to play. I'm not trying to talk about playoffs. I'm not trying to talk about any misconceptions that we are going to be in the mix at this point after a loss like that. All I'm saying is let's not go to the throw the season away. There are 10 games left in the season. You want to get better. And the only way you're going to get better, they found out this by not playing preseason games, is seeing how those guys react. A lot of young guys, we are quick to get on Mayfield. This is Mayfield's first taste of action in the NFL. Some folks adapt, some folks don't. Some folks need that expertise. Nobody was complaining about Mayfield the last 2 weeks. And I get it. I saw the same stuff you saw yesterday with Mayfield. I'm just trying to say that you're going to get baptized sometimes, and sometimes you're going to get the good end of it, especially as a rookie. So, yeah, I'm not about to throw the whole season away deal, in my opinion. Christopher, what's going on, brother? Talking to me on YouTube. If y'all don't get a chance, man, please subscribe to the YouTube station, Uncle Steve's Lounge, man. A lot of folks have been coming in lately. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the subscriptions when I get a chance. Christopher said, yep, offense didn't get it done. Can't talk about the defense this time. No, you can't. But unfortunately, it's a family. The defense can't go in there and beat their chest because we lost the game. But you're right. The defense has things that they can be proud of as far as going from the Miami game to this game. Now we're going to be playing Trevor Siemian this week, and I don't even know if Taysom Hill is going to be back. I know he had a concussion. He was under concussion protocol, so I don't know whether he's going to be back. But whoever you're going to play is not going to be a top-tier quarterback. You see how we looked last year against Taysom Hill. So let's put some pressure on this cat Siemian, man. Simeon couldn't do it in Denver. What makes us think he's going to be able to do it in New Orleans? Now, he does have a defense backing him up, but let's look. Keon Alvin Kamara. I have no experience coaching football. Keon Alvin Kamara, and let's play defense everywhere else. Excuse me. Alvin Kamara is the straw that stirs the coffee. Clayton, what's going on, Clayton? Clayton, I got your message as I was leaving yesterday, man. My apologies, brother. But I'm I'm in section 130. If y'all happen to see me, if y'all see I usually have my. I got one shirt that says Uncle Steve. I got one shirt that says Steve. If you see a shirt that says Steve, you see a big black guy with glasses that got a shirt that Steve, which in Atlanta, I guess, would be a lot of people. But if you see somebody that has Steve on their jersey or Uncle Steve, more than likely it's me. But I did get your message, Clayton, yesterday. Say, yeah, Ridley's balling out yesterday. Did hurt. Bailing out. I'm sorry. But mental health is serious. Begin behind him 100%. But we got the defense, got the ball for us for the first plays, and the offense did 3 points. I knew we had a big problem. I'm going to get to Ridley in about a couple of minutes. I'm going to try to get this the rest of everybody's comments out of here, but you're absolutely right, Clayton. Said Octavius, as none of the receivers showed up yesterday, Gage should have just stayed in street clothes. They didn't go to Gage, though. I mean, they didn't go to him. I don't know whether that because he wasn't getting out of his routes. I don't know what's good. Brother Marcario, how you doing, my brother? I think Winston does. It was confirmed that he does have a torn ACL. Sean Payton just confirmed it maybe about an hour ago in his presser. So he does, man. Sorry to hear that. I am not a fan of crab legs, the football player, but as a person, you don't ever want to see these young men get hurt, man. Look, look, he's on the last year of that contract too, man. So he's got not only this rehab is a double whammy because he's hurt and he's going to try to make a team next year coming off an ACL. And he's not going to be with this. I don't think they're going to give him a multi-year contract. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with New Orleans situation. Obviously, I don't care as much for the team, but for Jameis as a person, this could really be a crossroads in his career because he's a free agent after this year. So I don't know. What's up there, Anthony? How you doing, sir? I was there yesterday and thought we missed the opportunity. Thought we missed the opportunity. We missed a huge opportunity. Big time. Mark comes on and says, we were both hitting hard. Matt with the hand. KO that, yeah. And people, yeah, Matt's hand was injured yesterday. And give Matt some credit, man. Matt has always been a warrior. There's one thing you can never say about Matt is Matt tries to go out every play. Every time, every play. So people have criticisms on, and I understand. But Matt is a warrior, man. Matt is a warrior. It might be time to kind of fade on into the sunset here pretty soon. But I will never take away his toughness and knowing every week he's going to be there to start. Rusty says, my advice, start Trevor Siemian on the fantasy week. but again, though, Rusty, let's keep it real. Give the Falcons credit. They said they were going to check those receivers yesterday and I guess give up the run game. I would take my chances this week. Alvin Kamara is probably one of the top 5 offensive weapons and probably moved up a notch with Derrick Henry. Seems like he might be gone for the season. There was one little report they were just saying that it's a possibility if Tennessee makes the playoffs, he might be able, depending on how he comes out of surgery. But Alvin Kamara is a straight beast, and they don't come close without Alvin Kamara yesterday. Defense was doing good, but Alvin Kamara, man, he's all they got. And you see, he carried them last year when Breeze was out. Rusty says Gage gets absolutely no separation. He was drafted as a kick punt returner for a reason. And I'm pretty sure Gage was not expected to be slotted into that number one position as well. I'm sure of that. So yes, you gotta understand that. Um, let me get briefly into let me get briefly. Levon, I see you right there says offense needs to step it up. Big time offense needs to step it up, my brother. Big time. Big time. Let's get a little bit into the Calvin Ridley thing. And one of the reasons I want to talk about it is not even so much, yes, from the football standpoint, we miss his production. We miss him being, look, don't let it fool you in the Miami game last week. Part of why Pitts got some of the coverages that he did is because Ridley was that person that, you know, demands attention. I think they didn't get any respect from Carolina. I think Carolina was like, they're not throwing the Gage. They trying to force it to not Ridley, to Pitts. They throwing, Matt threw him triple coverage down the sidelines. So he's just trying to force feed that. He doesn't have any trust in any of that. So Ridley, we know he missed the Jets game. And I know that first week, the Falcons, the organization has been so snake bit with all these little personal things, leading back to number 11 leaving this summer and all of that. But of course, the first thought process when Ridley wasn't making the trip to England was that it had to be something internal. Coach Smith called him out a couple of weeks before that, and maybe he was a little bit in his feelings and stuff like that. And he said he wanted to take personal time. I found it refreshing that he could come out like he did last week and gave the little small interview and saying that, hey, it's personal. I just want to take my time and do what you need to do. As a person, that's all you can ask. Brother said he needed some time. Things are, not right, so he wanted to get them right. The mere fact that he practiced all week and had to be very close to kickoff. Do you know when I found out he wasn't in the game? When they announced the offense. And they announced the offense, and I was saying to myself, they were going and, then they get down to the last players. I think they did Pitts, then they did Cordell, then they did Matt Ryan. And I said to myself, okay, well, maybe we're trying to give some love to Ridley on the other end. And that was it. And I told my son, I said, did you see Ridley? And he said no. And we, of course, checked the phone. And lo and behold, you see he was inactive. Folks, I'm not going to sit here and try to play sports psychologist with anybody. I'm not going to pretend to know the psyche of any sports athlete in the game today. But if someone says, I need a break, and says it's something mental, who are we to make judgment on that? From a football fan standpoint, it sucks because one of your better players isn't there. I get that part. I absolutely get it. Would love to have him out there. But when he gets 35, 36, and he retires, and he knew these problems at 25 and didn't address them as time went on, and then something unfortunate happens, and then we'll go back and say, man, he should have said something. I keep thinking about Junior Seau. For those of you who don't know who he is, Hall of Fame linebacker, played for the then San Diego Chargers, and no one had any idea about CTE then and things. I'm not suggesting Calvin CTE. I know Junior had it, but nobody knew the things going on in his head, what he was thinking about, whether he was depressed, all that stuff. And we all think about it afterwards when something tragic happens and say, oh man, I wish he would have got the help he needed. But you know what? Now these young folks who are out there for our entertainment are saying, hold on, let me push the brakes on 1 minute. Let me see something, which seems like that was the Jets game. Came back out last week, scored a touchdown, did some good things, dropped the one ball had taken away from him. I understand that. And then this week, got right up to game time and say, I'm not ready. Do we want to play Monday morning quarterback with somebody's psyche? I understand that people, you know, have a tendency to want to get into people's personal space and dissect what's going on and stuff. I've heard reports about certain things, family stuff, but I don't even feel comfortable talking about it because he hadn't come out and said it. But if he tells us, and he came out with his statement yesterday, he's taking a few weeks. Give the man his space and respect his space. Now, one of the things, obviously, I don't tolerate in Uncle Steve's Lounge because we don't do comments like that on my YouTube page or anything like that. But as a admin in Atlanta Bird Gang, I think I would be less than a human if I didn't ask that we kind of curtail some of the extreme talk. And when I say extreme, Calvin Ridley realizes he missed the game. Calvin Ridley realizes that he's an important part of the team. I'm sure he realizes that's probably maybe one of the pressures. I don't know. But when I hear all of this, and some people even joke about it, that's your own thing. People have dark humor. I get it. I get it. But I just feel like, folks, let's just calm down on some of the rhetoric, the inflammatory rhetoric. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't if you shoot the man some prayers and saying that you hope he's okay, that's fine. If you're sitting there talking about how trash he is because he didn't have the mental aptitude like everybody else to go out on the field, you're gonna get your stuff deleted. I don't have time for that, and I'm sure that other admins don't have time for that because you, keyboard thug, is so mad that he lost the game that you could have won money on. We've got to stop doing that in life, period. But especially this young man, I'm telling you, it'll be a story years down the line where somebody will come back and say, "Oh, do you know what happened to so and so? They didn't tell anybody." Coming up on Veterans Day, a lot of soldiers went through a lot of mess. I was through Desert Storm. So a lot of the younger soldiers are through the Afghanistan stuff and things of that nature. Folks, I've seen some things that I don't come back and talk about on Facebook Live. I don't come back and post on here because there were some bad things. I don't want to try to pretend like I had, you know, things that damaged my mind more that damaged a lot of my comrades and things of that nature because those were some serious things. PTSD, that's serious. It's nothing to joke about. It's nothing to make memes about. And if you think it's funny, go to somebody who has a family member who's dealing with having mental struggles. And it ain't about getting a first down. So I just say be careful. Just look, if you Look, it doesn't matter. If you put up something stupid, we're going to take it off anyway. But calm down with all the dramatic, you know, Ridley ruined the season. Let's trade him. He went, and I love these people. You know, it's almost one of those things where you're going to go and look at the resume of some of these big bullies who are, oh, Ridley, you're not strong enough to be in the NFL, then you don't need to blah blah blah. I can't. I can't with some of the folks. The majority of the folks are well-thinking human beings. The majority of folks come on here and say, let's support him and get him back to a place where he feels good about himself. Then you worry about the football. Because right now, he is on our team. And do you think he wants to sit up there and look, you know, these players act like they don't read social media. They all do. Do you think you want to get up there and read how people are literally calling him faking his prognosis? I mean, just faking these things? It's not funny to me. And I understand people find humor in everything. People find I don't know. Sometimes I laugh at things that I think are whatever. I just don't think mental health is one of them. I saw people make fun and laugh at Simone Biles last summer. I get it. Some of y'all don't have anything to do, and some of y'all don't have a filter that thinks about human life like that. And that's fine. Well, I do. So I just felt like that's something that needs to be addressed, and we need to, you know, not if you're sending something positive, that's fine. If you're sending something that's gonna act like you're tough, nothing can bother you, you're the cat's meow as far as mentality, and you're strong enough to whatever. You know what? If you're strong enough to get through some things, God bless you. You know what? God bless you. Help somebody else then. Don't put them down. Help somebody else. If you're that strong and you're that big and bad, go see how you can help somebody. And not a football player. Go help, as I was talking about. Go down there on Claremont Avenue, to the VA building. And if anybody's a soldier, go down there and tell them how many people in there trying to get money back from 20 years ago when they threw them into weird situations. Go help those folks if we're so big and bad. But I didn't want to go on a huge huge soapbox about that. But that's something you got, because when it comes to Calvin Ridley, folks, I don't know. Now, getting back to the football part, I have no idea when he's coming back. I don't know if you even plan for him to come back. He says, according to the statement, it seems like there's room for him to. I don't know. We don't know. None of us know. So maybe we can, you know, just move forward and try to see what we can do from there. Fred, what's going on, Fred? Fred says football means nothing if his head isn't right, which you are absolutely correct. Absolutely. Rick says we need a good free agent to replace Ridley soon. That's something that you do want to think about. Maybe somebody who is a free agent, because yeah, you got to cover that. We support you, Ridley. Hope everything's all right. But right now, this team does need to go out and get a wide receiver. We do. We do. I forgot who the guy was they were showing that was working out for us. I forgot who it was. Was it last week? Somebody else might know what that is. Yeah, Drew said Lawrence Phillips. I forgot about Lawrence Phillips. And Lawrence Phillips, and again, folks, just because criminal activity and things that they do, man, that stuff is caused by all that head. And you get hit and things shake around and your mind starts thinking differently. I know Lawrence Phillips, Aaron Hernandez, that's another one. just let's start, you know, having some compassion. That's all I ask. You don't have to get on board if you don't want to. Just have some compassion. Marquis says Vincent Jackson. Remember him too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh Fred says it's not our place to question his mental health. Octavia says, I don't have much to say about Calvin's. Oh, that's Rusty. I'm sorry, Rusty. Rusty says, I don't have much to say about Calvin's situation. I know people close to me that have dealt with that stuff. It takes priority over a game as much as it sucks for us on Sunday. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, that's very well put, Rusty. Look, I hate what it's done for our team, but I will hate more if that storyline turns out in the negative and we're sitting here worried about how he couldn't be a distraction on the football field, how he couldn't uh, bring some of the coverage over to his side of the field. That would bother me if something were to happen. So I'm glad he did take that time out. Tavius, this is the one. Say, I feel like every NFL team should start having mental health doctors on staff to help with their problems. Hayden Hurst spoke out about his mental health as well, and that was actually a good video. If you get a chance to, and I think he did it going into this year, go check that out. That was actually some a nice little video that he put out about that. Again, we're not trying to make look. I'm not trying to tell you what to care about and everything like that. But the bottom line is, folks, Ridley probably won't be here for a minute. We might want to get used to it. Let's as my man said, Rick said, we probably need to move on, get somebody else, and let's see what we can get. Let's see what we can do. Uh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to match up some of these posts, and I think I've fallen back. My brother Glenn says 1,000% agree. Fred says, that's Fred right there. Says at the end of the day, it's a game. His mental health is way more important than a game. He only played 5 to 10 years. That's what I'm saying. Take care of it now, because once you get 35, 36, NFL don't want anything to do with you. They don't. They don't. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Levon. Mental health is first. Absolutely. Absolutely. Charles says, ain't nobody strong enough. Life will kick you in the teeth. Karma is real too. And listen, people deal with depression and things that happen in their life in different ways. There are some people that you sit there and say, man, how you do it? Some people lean on religion. Some people lean on working out and doing all of that. And, it is what it is. But everybody doesn't do it the same way. Fred says, go down to 5 points and talk to the homeless folks with mental health issues that can't get any help. Amen with that. Octavius says, I can even admit that I was judgmental about the Ridley situation, but I realize now I'm wrong. And listen, it's not about your own. Look, I'm not trying to make anybody right or wrong, but it is just to be aware. Just to be aware that these folks didn't ask to be put in that situation. People didn't ask. Cam says, is Frank Darby being activated to the main roster from a practice squad? That is a good question. And here, these are those things, taking it right back to football, y'all. These are those things that what I laugh about in training camp. And when we talk in training camp, and everybody, when Frank Darby gets drafted and he has the little video and he's so hyped and he's so, that I'm just going to be, I'm so happy, whatever. And I'm good. And I applaud him for his excitement and all of this and all of that. And we fall prey to that emotionally. And we say, Frank Darby's going to be the next so-and-so. And Frank Darby has been inactive probably at least 3 or 4 of these weeks. But you know what? With there being a spot right now, Frank Darby, now we need the promise. Now we need to see you get out there. That's what we need. Absolutely. What's going on, Christian? How you doing, brother? Good to see you out there, man. We've got to do, get that. Fred says, are they making Felipe Franks a receiver? I thought I saw him in some formation. No, Fred, you didn't think. Felipe Franks may have played about at least 10 formations, 10 plays yesterday. And the funny thing was, when I saw him get in, the first thing I started thinking, are they going to do something kind of tricky and like throw the ball? There was one pattern that Matt almost looked like he wanted to throw to him. Felipe was on the he came back to Matt, looked like he kind of wanted to run a wheel route, but it wasn't quite there. And I think he threw it on the inside and oh boy, got ate up. I think that was Sharp. Got ate up right there at the line. But hey, right now, we're at a point where we just need anybody that feels like they're going to step up. Felipe wants to get on the field. And I guarantee you, he was on the field more yesterday than he's been on all season combined. Because I kept saying, I said, is that 15? He was in a lot of offensive plays. And I'm saying 10, but at least 8 to 10. Somebody tell me if they saw different. But I definitely saw a lot of stuff there. Mark said, what everyone is upset about is the time of him setting out. Of course we are. Dude, I'm upset about the timing. Yeah, listen, you wouldn't be human if you're not upset about the timing of it. But whose time is it? If you're feeling, and again, this is not Calvin Ridley. I'm talking about human A. If human A is going along with the world and all of a sudden at 5:05 starts getting depressive, suicidal thoughts, it's not like there is a time that you say, you know what? Let me finish this game, then I'll have those thoughts. Let me finish this game, then I'll stop being depressed. Let me stop cutting the grass, and then I'll start. This was obviously something that happened at the very last minute where it just happened to him. Of course, the timing it sucks. It sucks. As a person who roots for my team, it sucks that my number one receiver is not in the game. But I separate that to say I understand what's going on. So no, I don't think anybody is missing the part that the timing. I get it. But it's not like you could put that on the calendar and say, hey, plan to come in at 4:15, not at 1 o'clock or not at 12 o'clock when I'm getting ready for the game. Start invading my mind at 4:30 when the game is over. Levon says we need to go after Matt Carroll at Ole Miss, in my opinion. Listen, when it comes to these quarterbacks, and I know everybody's giving up on the season after 7 games, I get it. And I'm not telling you the status quo is great. Let me stop you there. I guess what I am saying is in now November of 2021, do you know how many games, combines, personal situations they'll look up and things that are going to happen? Matt Corral, he's looking good at Ole Miss. I heard somebody talk about the guy Pickett at Pittsburgh. I also see people talking about the guy Willis. All of that is fine, y'all. But there's going to be a time for that. The person who's doing well now may not be doing it. I keep thinking about the brother from Ohio State that were running over everybody late last year. Trey Sermon ran for 300 plus yards against Northwestern to clinch the whatever and did all of that. And everybody's like, number one pick, top five running back. And I think he went in the second or third round. So but I'm just saying There's going to be a time for the evaluation. I keep hearing everybody, let's get Jordan Davis. And I get it. Every person that plays football on the college level looks great to a team that's not doing well. The messed up thing, we can only get one of the people, especially in the first and second round. You're only going to get one or two of them. And two, let's wait for the season to play out. Now I'm talking about the college season and the combines and the grades and the arm strength and all that stuff that gets judged. I just don't want to be premature when we start talking about that stuff. Say, I think Gage will. That's Charles. Say, I think Gage will step up now. I think Gage will step up now? That Calvin is out indefinitely. Well, I hope so. I mean, he's on the football field for a reason. He's number 2 wide receiver. I don't know what was going on yesterday that didn't get him any targets, but we're going to need that against New Orleans. I'm going to need to have him. I'm going to need to have more than 0 targets for allegedly my number 2 receiver. I say Blake Felipe and Cordell full-time receivers as possible decoys for Pitts. We'll see. He was in there for a reason yesterday. He looked like he was going out in patterns. Maybe they're trying to give him something to think about. I don't know. At this point, we got to take who we can get. That's a big boy. Christian says, I just hope that he doesn't have issues with our franchise like Ben Simmons with the 76ers. I hope not. He kind of reiterated in his little bit of an interview last week that he enjoyed playing with his teammates. He missed his teammates. Go back and look at it from last week. He while he was deflecting what had happened with him, but didn't seem like anybody that was not content with what was going on with the team. Fred says, I wish Gage could be a full-time starter. I don't think he's consistent enough. Cam says, I coach young Matt Carroll at Long Beach Poly, and he's a product of parents with money. Remember Johnny Manziel, and he had some of those tendencies too. And listen, I hope he's a little better because, yeah, you're absolutely right, Cam. There were folks that thought Johnny Manziel was the cat's me out. They had to beg Jerry Jones not to draft Johnny Manziel. If you remember back then, he wanted him bad. He wanted him real bad. Oh, man. Octavius says, make Patterson a wide receiver and activate Gallman. Yeah, that's true. Fred says, college greatness doesn't always equate to NFL success, and that is absolutely the truth, without a doubt. I mean, look, it's really early, man. It's really early for college evaluations. I don't even want to, and it's not that I don't want to talk about it. Look, you would be crazy if you don't see how great folks like Jordan Davis, dude, take a shot on Dean from Georgia. I think, is he a junior or a senior? I think he's a senior, even though with his degree, he might not be thinking about football. I don't know. Dean is balling. Well, you can imagine him as one of those linebackers. I mean, he just seemed like he has a nose to be around to play. These guys on this Georgia team, this defense, woo! I don't even care who you pull off. Those guys look good, but I just want to make sure, let's get the season over with. Let's make real evaluations. I like my guy, and I got to start. And my man showed me how to pronounce his name, the guy who blocked the kick last week. Look, I'm starting to see him more and more in plays. I'm starting to see him get a lot more active. And let's see how his development is real. Because let's let some of these young guys develop before we just throw them out and just start bringing in replacements after 1 year. Mayfield is going to be a better guy for this stuff right here. Mayfield is going to be battle-tested and a much better player after going through all this stuff. Trust me. He's going to be really good. I say really good. Let me caution that. He's going to be a consistent pro for going through the stuff that he went through. Cam says, eye test right now. We should look at a quarterback. Desmond Ridder looks the part. He has grown so much from last year to this year, and his leadership qualities are coming to the front. Like I said again, you're right. Just in time, my brother. Said Levon says, we eventually have to build around quarterback one position with Matty Ice getting up there in age. And listen, these last couple of weeks, Levon, you give Matt his due. Matt has been pretty hot last couple of weeks. But yesterday in that game, when that defensive front collapsed in front of them quickly, the difference between Darnold and him is Darnold stepped up and got a couple of yards. Matt stepped up and fell on his face. That's not a joke. It happened. You remember? That's what you need today. You got to have that person who can escape those situations. That's not a knock on him. That's the truth. Kobe Dean is a monster on the field, but he's the same size as Deion Jones. Yeah, and I know he's size, but boy, I just look at him tackling SEC talent, and I just see him playing. Look, there's the SEC, and then there's college football, and the big boys go to the SEC. And when you see them go to the SEC, and you see SEC on SEC, more than likely, those are the guys that end up balling. Those cats. No disrespect to the Big Ten, no disrespect to the Pac-10, but that's just how it is. Cam said fell on his face. Said, y'all want to see a dead body. I mean, it was sad, but it's true. He couldn't get up. He couldn't get up. And I felt bad for him. Because people were booing him. The few people that were there were booing him. And I hate that for him. Because he's been okay for the franchise. He's been a good quarterback for the franchise. And I hate to see it going out like that. But again, there's always next week. And I have optimism for next week, folks. I'm not wishing bad for James. Matter of fact, I hope Jameis Winston recoups and moves on to his next team. But listen, that's a backup quarterback. That's a genuine backup quarterback playing for New Orleans. You have to take advantage of that. You cannot have sympathy for this guy. You've got to bring extra folks. You've got to make him feel the pressure. You've got to make him be a quarterback. It's a little bit different from Tyler Heinicke, a little bit different from Daniel Jones, a little bit different from Zach Wilson. At least they got their feet wet within the year. Trevor Siemian started, 2 years ago in Denver? You got to make him feel like he's a rookie. You've got to. That's bottom line. Levon says Matty Ice falling on his face is starting to look like familiar, especially with his experience back there. Hey, absolutely. Beat them Aints. Charles says the SEC, it just means more. SEC players, man, it's a whole different deal. It's a whole different deal. It is. So the Falcons they have to go back to the drawing board. We got to do some more things to get ready for that. I just want to throw all of Sunday out last week because unfortunately that Atlanta karma or whatever it is bled over up the road to Cobb County at Truist last night as our Braves, man. I'm just, oh my goodness. It was and I know people are probably saying this already, and I haven't heard it, but I'm like, whatever. I start thinking about Robert Alford's interception in the first half to go up 21-0. And I said that was so parallel to Adam Duvall's grand slam in the first inning. Because I think if you were in Braves country and you see how things were going early in that first inning, you said, oh, these boys about to blow the roof off this place. And I rewound back to February 2017, and I said, when Robert Alford got that interception, oh, these boys about to blow the roof off this thing. So I'm getting ready to tell y'all what's going to be the headlines for the Braves. Obviously, we know the Braves have to go back to Houston for games 6 and 7. Before I even do that, I'm telling you, I feel good about these two games. I'm telling you why. And I know this is Atlanta Bird game, but I'm going to take my liberties right now. But the reason why I feel good about these last two games is because yesterday we didn't waste any. The only significant pitcher we wasted yesterday was AJ Minter. And with a day's rest, AJ will probably be ready to come back out. You didn't waste Matzik. You didn't waste Will. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but you didn't waste Luke Jackson. So if we can get anything out of Fried or Anderson, Fried, I know, has been a little shaky, even though he did kind of calm down once he gave up. He's kind of like my man yesterday when he gave up the grand slam. He kind of calmed down to the home run. If we can get to the 6th inning with a lead, I like our chances. If we can get to the 6th inning and set up that Matzik, Luke Jackson, Will Smith thing, I like my chances. So here's going to be the headlines. We can come back and we can talk about it. It's going to be one or two things. If the Atlanta Braves win tomorrow or Wednesday, it will be Atlanta Sports Exercise Demons on Houston. Or if we lose these two games in a row, it'll be Houston. Houston still has a hex on Atlanta Sports. Get ready for it. It's simple. It's lazy, but the narrative is going to come. Watch. I was sitting there thinking the whole time how they will relate that to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't think Houston folks. If you go to Houston radio, TV, newspaper, I guarantee you that's all they're talking about. But I think we just need to, look, we still got two games. Houston was going to, listen, Houston's going to hit. That shutout, that was an anomaly. That was crazy. I just want us to hold Houston for two or three. If we can hold them to 2 or 3, we win. You really think about it? Aside of the 2-zip game, they really haven't shut us out. Their pitching has not done that great against us. So it's not their pitching. It's our pitching to their offense. So that's what we need to do. We need to hopefully get that out of the way. Hopefully we do. Let's see. Octavius says, don't remind me about that Braves game last night. But again, y'all remember now, baseball, they play 3 games. Look, the average team, you win 2 out of 3. That's the average series. We lost 1 game. We lost 2 games. We won 3. Take care of your business. And shoot, even if you don't take care of your business tomorrow, you take care of your business on Wednesday. You are afforded those chances. Take advantage of it. I just like the fact that we didn't shoot all of our bullets yesterday. We kept the main guys on the side. And that's what we got. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. Fred says 3-1, starting to look like 28-3. I know, and that's another one, Fred. If I hear 28-3, but that it is. I know that's just easy for some people. Say, don't remind us. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Lisa says, I'm really hoping that the Braves pull this out. If not, the narrative of Atlanta sports losing leads while on the brink of a championship will be insistent. Listen, we're not the only city that goes through that. We're just the city that doesn't have, the championships to back it up. Nobody talks about the New York Yankees getting beat after being up by 3-0, except for Boston fans. And every now and then, the national media will throw that on there. That was the worst comeback to me. And if memory serves me right, they won the last 2 games in New York. I've always looked bad. And as bad as the Super Bowl was, and of course, with football, it's one game. The Yankees were up 3-0 and got hauled in. I've always thought that was worse. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody double check for me. I'm pretty sure those last 2 games when Boston made that comeback, I'm pretty sure those last 2 games were in New York. Because I think New York was the actual division champ or whatever that year. I could be right. Say, don't even let Octavia said, don't even let Lou Jackson pitch. Lou actually looked pretty good the last 2 outings. I was surprised yesterday. I get what I think. Snitker, he got away with it in game 4 with the bullpen game. And I think he thought he was going to get away with it again. So, yeah. Levi says, still an Atlanta fans cheer with caution. That's good. That's good. John says, bring me my dang trophy. I got you, brother. But, hey, man, it's not like they're not trying. It's not like they're not trying. It's not like they're not trying. Kiwi says, when Ridley didn't show up, why was Gage so invisible? We were trying to figure that out too. Like I said, the only thing I could think of, Matt just may not have had a lot of confidence in him. Maybe he wasn't getting out of his routes. I don't know. We don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I did. Levon says Cleveland came back and beat Golden State. That's an asterisk right there. The asterisk is the Draymond Green suspension. I look, give LeBron all the credit in the world for taking advantage of something that happened, but that was Corey says, where is Frank Darby? Now I hope he's getting ready to play. But again, we all fell in love with somebody with some shorts and a t-shirt during the summertime. Just got to remember, you got to put that stuff on the field, man. Got to put that stuff on the field. But that's a good question. Maybe he gets some time this week. Maybe he does. I don't know. Anyway, folks, I said I was going to cut it short today, and I probably already overlooked that. It's almost 5:30. I'm sure the other brothers are going to be coming in. Again, all I ask is if you're listening to this live now or listening to it after I've already did it, let's have a postmortem on the Calvin Ridley stuff, man. As much as I know it's easy for folks to kind of dig into that. We don't know. No one knows. No one has a definitive thing and what's going on. No one has had any kind of inside thing on what's going on with him. He's told us he needs a break. He needs a mental break. And if he needs a mental break, well, dog, he gonna get it. But we're not gonna have negative, outrageous, personal attacks at the young man because he's trying to get his mental health deal straightened out. And I support him doing that. We'll find a way. We're gonna have to. That's what those guys get paid for. They get paid. The guys on the bench, they get paid to like you're talking about Frank Darby, they get paid to step up to the plate. They get paid to, you know, to do it, to come up. We gotta do that. Thank you, Levon. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. It's all good. I appreciate y'all listening to me. Check me out on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Subscribe, please. We'll check you all out later on in the week. Until then, y'all have a blessed one, man. We'll take care.